The Dallas Cowboys had no business playing against the New Orleans Saints on Sunday. To call it a game would be generous. New Orleans had their way in just about every single capacity against the Cowboys and partied all throughout. Their first 6 possessions all resulted in touchdowns, and through the first 2 weeks of the season, they look like one of the better offenses in the league. Questions are now circling the Cowboys like buzzards in the desert, as many are wondering if this team is truly a playoff contender or just in for a long year. Welcome to our stock report following Sunday's loss, which, as you can imagine, is not going to be a ton of fun. Stock down. Mike McCarthy was not the worst at his job on Sunday, but as the head coach, he has to lead the way here. The Cowboys were woefully unprepared, which is a reflection on the program he operated leading up to the home opener. We have known the Cowboys to be stout at home, but the last 2 games we have seen them play, there have been epic beatdowns. Consider that on Sunday, the Cowboys allowed 432 total yards and 44 points. A game like that literally did not happen in the entire Dan Quinn era. Does that mean that Quinn was the real master of everything? Hardly. But those are the kinds of questions that losing that kind of way will yield. What's more is that McCarthy inexcusably left his starters in this game in the fourth quarter with things, well, already out of contention. It was during this time that Zach Martin exited with injury. Thankfully, he returned. CeeDee Lamb took a hit to the head in the end zone, and Dak Prescott was sacked again. What was the purpose? The plan? The goal? It is the middle of September. We all know that this is a marathon and not a sprint. Playing for pride or something is a fool's errand. What's more is that even if you were playing for some morale boost, Dallas turned the ball over on downs on both of their possessions with the starters to start the fourth quarter. Stock down. Mike Zimmer as it relates to the new defensive play caller. It was hardly a great return to the home building for Mike Zimmer's career with the Dallas Cowboys. Is it fair to blame Mike Zimmer entirely? That would be an overreaction. But Clint Kubiak had the New Orleans Saints ready to go and was scheming players open constantly. Derek Carr threw for 243 yards on only 11 completions because of how many explosive plays they were able to generate. This matchup was lost in the game planning, whether or not Zimmer knew it. The Cowboys continue to struggle with any semblance of Kyle Shanahan's offensive system, and in their first test to be ready for it with a new defensive coordinator, they massively failed. Stock down. Micah Parsons, to be clear, Micah Parsons led the team in pressures. He had 3 and was the only player with multiple. But he has set such a high standard for himself that when something like this happens, we turn to him and ask for more. Being the best means you have a different bar. The Cowboys had a pressure rate of 44.6% in Week 1. That dropped all the way to 35.3% against New Orleans. Going against an offensive scheme that is your kryptonite is one thing, but worsening it by not getting home or anywhere near home is only going to worsen it.